Rise and grind, folks. It's Monday morning. We got to start this week off on fire. Guys, I'm on the way to an existing maintenance customer. I believe they have a heat pump that we put in at least 2 or 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, without looking at the paperwork. But it's a relatively brand new 17 SEER heat pump. And yeah, guys, everything's rocking and rolling. I'm just out here for the tune-up for the fall. And guys, I believe the only thing I remember besides, of course, us installing the unit is I believe that last year they just had a miscellaneous, I don't even know what to call this, but guys, he said that with this heat pump, he tried to turn it to heat mode. Well, he tried to turn it to AC, and then he had warm air blowing out, and I got there, and the heat pump was running in heat mode. And like, I think I had to do something with this reversing valve. I don't know if the reversing valve was stuck, but yeah, guys, it was something weird going on. Nothing got replaced, and everything's been running fine. But I think I spoke with tech support about it, and I know I didn't have to like hit the solenoid, but I know for sure the reversing valve, like it was energized, but it was still running in heat mode. So like, I forgot. I think tech support had me turn power off. He had me do something. I think he had me switch it to heat and then back to AC, and it worked. But it was something crazy I had to do with that reversing valve. But guys, I'm gonna take a look. I'm like around the corner there right now. I'll see you when I get there. Peace. All right, guys. I am inside, and we always want to make sure that our electric heat is running before we check our heat pump. Suction line is hot. And yeah, this is, I believe this is a 10 kW electric heat kit. Everything's rocking and rolling. And we also got a new filter we got to put in. So let's put our filter in, let's close the door up, and let's go outside. I'll see y'all in a little bit. All right, guys. Everything inside is rocking and rolling. We got our new filter in, and I turned the thermostat off for a second because I didn't want that electric heat constantly running. I didn't want it to get too hot in there. And guys, this is the heat pump. I believe we came out here this past spring, and everything is rocking and rolling. And the biggest recommendation I told the customer is you don't want to have tree branches and shrubs growing directly next to or on top of this unit. And that's the only difference, guys. Well, the biggest difference between a heat pump and a condenser as far as cleanliness is that most customers need to understand that these heat pumps run year round. So things that you just cover up for a regular straight AC condenser in the winter, you can't cover up on a heat pump. So anytime you have tree shrubs, even remotely close to the unit, you got to cut these down because this coil needs airflow flowing through it properly to heat and cool the house, depending on the season. So for sure, this doesn't look too bad, but these branches aren't that crazy. I can just twist this off of my hand here. But yeah, guys, what I'm gonna do, let me wipe this. Looks just like some algae here growing on the unit. Let me get a rag, let me wipe this down, and we're gonna open up the electrical component area, and I wanna take a look at that reversing valve. I'll see y'all in a little bit. All right, guys, the top didn't look too bad. We just wiped it down. And also the condenser coils, this customer had a whole spigot right on the opposite side of the bushes here. We hose this coil down every spring, like when we come out here for the AC checkup, but the coils didn't look too bad. We'll probably notate to hose them down again in the spring. But let me show you guys something here. Let me turn on the light. Hold on. So this is just our defrost board. And right now, I told you guys earlier, I had to turn the thermostat off because even though I got my handle out on the disconnect out here, the electric heat kit can still run. And especially with heat pump maintenances, you don't want to just work on the heat pump and then have a customer burning up inside with the electric heat running. So I'll probably go back inside in a second to turn the thermostat on to check the amps. But once again, guys, my suction line was already warm. That's important to tell you guys as well. So And you guys already know, checking pressures now, you can, but if you did have to adjust the charge, for one, you'll have to turn this to AC mode, and most likely two, you'll probably have to still verify the charge on a 70-degree day. And guys, right now it's like 41 degrees. So it's very, very chilly this morning. So, but most importantly, guys, my suction line is hot. So I know that can definitely get us by checking pressures again until next spring. But the most important tool here is a good brush and a good pair of eyes, because look at this, guys. And this is what I always like to show customers, is that you see that this isn't something you can avoid. And you definitely don't want the customer opening equipment up. Like you said, that's our job. You don't want the customer to get hurt or anything like that. But most importantly, guys, I always tell customers the only thing they can do out here is just keep shrubble and trees away from the unit. But cleaning the unit every year, you can't really avoid this, regardless if you put insect repellent around the unit or inside the unit. Guys, insects will always find their way inside heat pumps and condensers. And the only thing you can do, or the only thing the customer can do, is just have us come out to keep all this, especially the electrical component area. You want to keep this as clean as possible, because this may not seem like much now. And like I said, right now, the unit is still working. But guys, if the customer didn't have us come out to check this, and the insects continue to build, I can almost guarantee, and I use this analogy a lot, what you see now, it can almost guarantee the double, or if not triple, within the next year or two. And like I said, guys, you don't know how bad it can get until now something happens, and now the customer has to pay for defrost boards. They got to pay for, God knows what. So like I said, guys, it's best to be preventative. Not every customer agrees to get things done before things break down, but unfortunately, guys, if every customer was preventative, then I don't think we'll have a business. So unfortunately, guys, someone always waits until it breaks down, but it's your job as the maintenance tech and the service provider is to avoid breakdowns. And guys, look, you avoid breakdowns by explaining things before it happens, and not just explaining, you want to show them. So guys, what I'm going to do is, let me get my brush. I need both of my hands here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get all these cobwebs out the way. I want to check my cat. And after I check the cat, I got to turn this unit on because I want to check ants, and also I got to test the defrost on that board. But let me get it going real quick, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Peace. All right, guys. I went back inside. My capacitor is still within range. I just went back inside and turned the thermostat on to heat. And now I'm checking my amps real quick. 5.56 with the compressor is good. 0.86 is good. Cool. All right, guys, what I'm gonna do is, I might need both of my hands here. I gotta find a defrost pin. And right here, I think I see it. Hold on. You guys see that there? Where it says test? That is where you gotta put your screwdriver. Let me get a better angle here. See that? That's the sound of this unit turn off on defrost. And it should turn right back on. Now, how long this unit turns off on defrost, that depends on what you have it set to. Now, let me show you here. It's 50 seconds, 70 seconds, 90 seconds, and it's 100 seconds. Right now, this is on, I believe, 50 seconds. No, actually, it's a 70 seconds. Sorry about that. You guys see that here? The first two pins are 50. The second two pins are 70, 90, and then so on and so forth. But 70 seconds, that's how long this unit's going to turn off on defrost. And I'm going to do this one more time. Make sure my fan turns off. And it does. Cool. And I can almost feel that hot air coming off that compressor. But yeah, guys, that's all there is to it. For sure, as far as hosing the coils down, I mean, it really depends. I'll tell you like this. If, let's say this is our first time coming out here, if we didn't come out here and the unit just turned on. Let's say if this is our first time coming out here, if I know for sure we didn't hose the coils down in the spring, and also if the coils look dirty, like if I can't see through to the other side, like you can almost see the fins. But if I seen like a definite coating of like pollen and dirt, I would definitely hose these coils down. Because guys, one thing you need to know with heat pumps, if the condenser coils are dirty, if you're lucky to not trip off on high head pressure in the summer, you're definitely going to have a high pressure alert or a high pressure lockout in the winter due to the coils being dirty. Because guys, one thing you got to realize is in the summertime, you deal with pollen on these condenser coils. That's the biggest threat. You know, pollen and also tree shoves if this heat pump is in a dense area with a lot of trees. But guys, one thing you got to understand is in the wintertime, assuming that you don't have pollen on this coil, now you have to deal with ice buildup. You have to deal with a lot more things. So like guys, that's why it's always important to get these units checked out, meaning heat pumps. Make sure that everything is working fine in the summer, because I can guarantee guys, what don't get looked at in the summer is always going to come back to screw the customer over in the winter. Whether it be low on refrigerant, whether it be dirty condenser coils, whether it be, like I said, whatever the repair was, you know. But guys, that's one thing, like I said, you know, with heat pumps, they're pretty easy to understand and maintain. But like I said, guys, what I'm telling you means nothing unless the customer understands what you guys are saying. So that's why with most of this stuff for the first time, this customer already knows everything I'm explaining to you guys on this video. Because when we installed this unit, we pretty much went over everything as far as what we check in the spring and in the fall. So this is actually our third year out here. So the customer already has a general understanding of sounds. Like for instance, with this heat pump, the sound that this heat pump makes when it turns off on defrost, how this heat pump will look in the winter. You know, if he sees ice, if the customer sees ice on the coil, that doesn't mean that the heat pump isn't running. That's normal. And like I said, guys, also inside, you know, with the electric heat, you know, I always tell customers electric heat is great, but sometimes you got to expect higher than normal bills during peak seasons. I want to say between December and probably March, give or take. That's when this heat pump is probably going to be a little less as effective, because now you got to deal with 20-degree nights and you got to deal with this heat pump turning off on defrost a little bit more often. So, guys, like I said, with heat pumps, it's all about explanation, and just you as a service provider, you just have to make sure you have an underlying basic idea of how this equipment works, and if you can keep it clean, you know, and avoid breakdowns. Like I said, guys, heat pumps are great, but it's always, you know, with heat pumps or straight AC units, there's always what you can't see that comes back to cause the biggest headache. So this customer understands that, and like I said, you know, they use us for the heat and AC maintenance, and knock on wood, besides the issue I told you guys, and that was like, I think within the first year of us putting this in, the reversing valve was sticking, but we didn't have to do anything to the system. We pulled a vacuum and put a filter dryer on this unit, so nothing install related, I don't think, caused that issue. But I switched the thermostat to heat and switched it back to AC, and like I said, guys, that was like at least 2 years ago, no issue. So yeah, guys, there you have it. I can talk heat pumps all day, because like I said, I think these heat pumps are fascinating. I remember back when I was in school, my first time actually learning about heat pumps, I'm like, how the hell can a heat pump take heat from cold air and like bring it into the house? And like, that's when, not to go off topic, but that's when I learned about sub-zero. I think it's like negative 460 or negative 360 is when like molecular motion stops. So it's like this heat pump can remove heat all the way down to like negative 360 degrees or negative 460 degrees. And like, I think that's pretty cool. So like, yeah, guys, but not to go off topic, I got to rock and roll. Let me put the door on, and I got another 2 jobs I got to get to. But yeah, guys, there you have it. This is just a heat pump maintenance. I'm just yapping about just random things, not only the history here, but also some things you guys can educate customers on to avoid breakdowns. And most importantly, you know, it's all about the customer having the basic understanding of what to expect, you know, because a lot of customers, I can tell you, I said this before, out of 10 customers with these heat pumps, at least 4 of them are going to have questions about, hey, what's normal, what's not, why does my heat pump sound like it's getting ready to blow up in every 2 days in the winter? Also, how come there's so much ice on the coil? Guys, these are all answers that a service provider should be able to explain to a customer. So moving forward, they have a clear expectation of the pros and cons and what they have to do to avoid future issues from popping up. But guys, there you have it. I gotta rock out. I know right now the electric heat is running, so I think I left that thermostat at like 80 degrees. So I gotta go inside. Let me put the doors on and let me rock out, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.